Good afternoon, everyone. It's Zilla, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking about the tropics and the super hurricane that is Hurricane Delta. That's going to be a Category 5 to make landfall in Mexico and on the Yucatan Peninsula. Before I do get started with the video, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do enjoy the weather-related content that I do provide on the channel. And if you are new, please hit that red subscribe button. We are currently on the road to 100 subscribers, and we are currently sitting around 87. And let's see if we can't get this video up to 5 likes. So first we're going to be heading over to the College of Dupage satellite imagery. So we have a nice circular area of deep convection circling around the area of low pressure. And I want to show you guys right in here. I want you to look at this swirling action of this system that you can clearly see on satellite. Look at that swirling action of that system right there. That supports that's a very strong area that we could be experiencing an eye in that circular area. And then you can see that little brighter colors there. That is what we call convection blow up, or that's what I like to call it. And that only comes with super strong hurricanes that are still rapidly intensifying. So what that means is that there is a little pocket of convection that is extremely blowing up, and that could be causing the system to possibly intensify. So let's get into the 2-day outlook. We're not going to be talking about the 5-day outlook just due to the fact that that's not our main focus right now. It is about Hurricane Delta. So you can see Hurricane Delta from the 5 o'clock advisory. All this is from the 5 o'clock advisory. You can see the Delta is currently having the Yucatan in its crosshairs right here. And then now we're going to be getting into the key messages for Hurricane Delta. And we're going to be going 1 through 3, so let's get right into it. Extremely dangerous storm surge and hurricane conditions are expected within portions of the northern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico beginning tonight, and a hurricane warning is in effect. Heavy rainfall will affect portions of the Cayman Islands, western Cuba, and the northern Yucatan Peninsula throughout the midweek. This rainfall could lead to significant flash flooding and mudslides. The potential for heavy rain and flash flooding will increase across portions of the central Gulf Coast, Tennessee Valley, the southern United States as Delta moves inland later this week. There is an increasing likelihood of life-threatening storm surge and dangerous hurricane force winds, especially along the coast of Louisiana and Mississippi beginning on Friday. Residents in these areas should ensure that they have their hurricane plans in place and monitor updates to the forecast. So let's get into the cone that we are expecting. We are going to be expecting a major hurricane at landfall with both in Louisiana as well as the Yucatan Peninsula. So if you are in that area, you need to be evacuating, especially in Louisiana. If you are watching and you live in Louisiana, you need to be getting your stuff ready to go, because this system will not be friendly. I am expecting around 15 to 20 foot storm surge with this system, as well as torrential flooding with this, and you can't rule out tornadoes in this as well. So let's look at the National Hurricane Center's tropical storm and hurricane force wind paths that this system has encountered. So it looks like we started with tropical storm force winds just to the south of Jamaica, and then you can see it did gain hurricane status, and then somewhere to the southwest of Jamaica, and then it has kept those hurricane force winds. What are the arrival times of these tropical storm force winds? Well, the Yucatan Peninsula, you need to be getting ready, because if you are staying behind, this system is not going to be friendly. You'll be experiencing these winds as an overnight storm at around 2 a.m. tomorrow, and then in Louisiana, you could be experiencing these winds around Thursday at around 8 o'clock, possibly into the Friday morning hours. So let's look at some more satellite images. So you can see we have a nice clean area of convection kind of sitting in the middle of this system where the low is, and we're looking at around -80 to possibly -90 on the cloud charts. So this system is definitely intensifying. This system is not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon until it reaches Louisiana. We'll be keeping an eye on that, and I'll show you guys what's going to be happening with that later in the video, so make sure to stick around for that. Let's look at the shortwave IR. You can clearly see that convection where that low is. The low is somewhere right in here. So that's where the eye could be possibly forming as well. So that convection, it doesn't look like it's stopping any further. It looks like to me that's going to be continuing to rapidly intensify before it does make impact with the Yucatan Peninsula. So let's get into the track guidance and intensity models as well. So it looks like all the models are very conclusive with this system kind of going over the Yucatan Peninsula possibly, and then it's just going to be a matter of what time will this system make landfall. And I'm seeing at around 82 to possibly 85 hours is when we are expecting the system to be making landfall with Louisiana. So the model intensity guidance does show the system is expected to maintain at a Category 4 status until it does reach Louisiana in about 84 to around 96 hours, where it is expected to practically just fall off pretty significantly. So we're going to be keeping our eyes. One model is going to have it gaining up to around almost a 200 knot storm. So that's going to be, we're going to be keeping our eyes on that to see if that model or any other models do support that here in the next coming hours and next couple updates. So now we're going to be looking at the forecast models from the H-Wharf model. So here up here towards the top shows what forecast hour we are currently looking at. So right now this is forecast hour number 6. So it looks like we're at 949 millibars just before landfall with the Yucatan Peninsula. And then at the hour 24 mark, we are expecting a system to make landfall at around 939 millibars. And then once it goes out into the Gulf, about 60 hours, we are expecting the system to strengthen into a 933 millibar system. So this system will strengthen out in the Gulf of Mexico, and then as it does make landfall with the Louisiana coast, expecting the system to be about 951 millibars. So now we're going to be getting into the wind, but I also want you to keep it up there, looking at the top of the forecast hour as well. But I also want you to keep your eyes up here towards the top right of your screen. It shows the max wind and knots. So we're looking at the system right now making landfall at Yucatan with winds at around 127 knots, so practically close to a Category 5 hurricane, if not a little higher than that. And then at its strongest peak, it looks like just before it makes landfall with Louisiana, we're expecting this to be around 162 knot storm. So that could be very, very dangerously close to a Category 5 hurricane, if not a very high-end Category 4. And then as it does make landfall with Louisiana, you can see that the winds are down to around 126 knots. So maybe the system will make landfall around a high-end Category 4 hurricane. It's just a little too far out in my opinion, making any conclusive predictions. But we'll get into my forecast here in a minute. What are the current stats for major Hurricane Delta? The current pressure is at 956 millibars, max sustained winds 125 knots or 145 miles per hour. Current location is at 18.9 north, 84.1 west, and it's currently moving at 15 knots or at 17 miles an hour. So here is my forecast. I have it being at a Category 5 in 2 different places. One at the Yucatan Peninsula right as it makes landfall, and then just before it gets to the coast of Louisiana with winds up to 157 to possibly 160 miles an hour. And then once it does make landfall with the Yucatan in about 12 hours, I have it at 950 millibars with winds at around 157 miles an hour. And then at landfall in about 96 hours, we're looking at 950 millibar storm with winds at 145 to 150 miles an hour. So I am expecting a pretty high-end Category 4 hurricane to make landfall with central Louisiana. So what's my impact forecast? So red represents hurricane conditions, yellow equals tropical storm conditions, and green equals tropical depression. So I have 2 hurricane conditions possible right where the Yucatan Peninsula is, and then right practically involved in the entire Louisiana coast, just due to the fact that we are expecting a major hurricane to go through there. And then just to the west of the Yucatan, I am expecting a tropical storm conditions that are possible, possibly just due to some rain and maybe some pretty high winds, as well as Cuba with tropical depression just due to the winds, I think, from the backside of this system. And then up towards the U.S., I have this being at a tropical storm from practically Houston all the way up to Mississippi. I just think we'll be getting some winds with the system, and then up towards the north where it is expected to become a tropical depression involving Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. So let's get into the shear. So we are experiencing some shear that is definitely starting to weaken right before the coast of Louisiana. But you're probably wondering, well, you just said that there's going to be shear coming with this system. Hold on. So here is the system right here as expected right there, and we're not seeing any shear, possibly a little pocket of increasing shear, but the system is expected to kind of dodge that area as well. Here's a little better view for all the people that don't want to get into the details depths of shear. So we have a little shear up towards the north near Houston and New Orleans, and then here's that little pocket of shear that was just on that last slide right there. And then so it looks like we have some shear down to the south of this system, but that doesn't look like to be causing any troubles with this system at all. What are the sea surface temperatures for this area? So this is from Tuesday at around 4 o'clock from Channel 9 News from Tampa Bay. So looking at down towards where the system is, they're looking at mid to upper 80s with this system at around 86 degrees. And then once it does kind of get into the Gulf, we are looking at somewhere between the low to mid 80s for sea surface temperatures. So that could definitely cause the system not to intensify as quickly as it was doing down near Jamaica. Let's look at the tropical intensity index. So this system is definitely loving this tropical intensity with highly favorable conditions for the system to kind of intensify. So the system is somewhere right in here. So definitely has a lot more areas for this system to kind of intensify a lot further than what we are projecting. And then the atmospheric moisture, we can see we have two very moist areas of potential water where the system right here is possibly going to be. And then we have tropical post-tropical system of depression gamma that could be sitting just kind of possibly merging with the system to kind of make the system a little more stronger. So now we're going to be getting into the shear. So remember when I said that there's going to be some shear that's going to affect the system? Well, here you go. So here we're looking at around 12Z and on Tuesday. So here is the system right here. So look right there. So the red represents some pretty significant shear. So I want you to watch right in here. Watch this general area right here. So here is the 24 hours. So you can see some shear is definitely starting to kind of back off with this as the system does make landfall with the Yucatan and heading its way towards the Gulf of Mexico. And then here in about 48 hours, we are seeing some shear starting to form right here, and that's what's going to cause the system to not kind of intensify as quickly, and that could actually cause the system to kind of weaken. And then here, right here, is where the system is going to have a battle. Right here, where there's a little pocket of shear that's expected to form in about 72 hours, and that's where that Category 5, that's where I have it going down to a Category 4 status, and not at a Category 5 at landfall. And then it will be running into some pretty significant shear at landfall in about 84 hours. And now we're going to look at the Saharan air dust. We do have a couple of new waves or monsoons coming off the coast of Africa, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. But other than that, in the Gulf, not much Saharan air other than that, just a little pocket of dry air that's not going to be affecting the system much at all. Well, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you all did enjoy. If you did and you are new, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.